The Last Targaryen, Jon Snow's true fate after Game of Thrones Season 8 inches. Welcome back, everyone, to the channel where fantasy meets strategy and nostalgia fuels our digital adventures. When the curtain finally fell on Game of Thrones, Jon Snow faded into the snow-covered horizon, riding north of the Wall into the unknown. For a character once revealed to be the true heir to the Iron Throne, a Targaryen by blood and a Stark by heart, it was an ending that left fans stunned and divided. After 8 seasons of sacrifice, heartbreak, and revelation, Jon didn't claim the throne. He didn't rule. He didn't even stay in Westeros. Instead, he vanished into myth, his story left open-ended. But is that really where Jon Snow's tale ends? Or is there more? In this deep dive, we explore the true fate of Jon Snow, the last living male Targaryen, and what his final ride into the North truly meant. From hidden symbolism in the finale, to clues dropped by George R.R. Martin, to what lies beyond the Wall, this is the untold aftermath of Game of Thrones. The king who never was. The hero who knew nothing. The last Targaryen. This is Jon Snow's true fate. The final exile. Let's begin with the ending. Jon Snow's final scenes in Season 8 were quiet, haunting, and filled with unresolved tension. After stabbing Daenerys Targaryen to prevent her from becoming a tyrant, Jon is arrested by the Unsullied and imprisoned in King's Landing. Tyrion Lannister argues that Jon deserves mercy, while Grey Worm demands justice. The new council of Westerosi lords, including Sansa, Arya, Davos, and Brienne, debates his fate. The verdict: exile. Jon is sent to the Wall. The Night's Watch is once again his prison, though the White Walkers are gone, and the purpose of the Watch is unclear. But from the very moment he arrives, we see Jon breaking free from duty. He's greeted by Tormund Giantsbane and the Free Folk. He ventures beyond the Wall, perhaps for good. There are no final words. No grand speeches. Just a gate closing behind him, and a new chapter silently beginning. But this wasn't just exile. It was a symbolic rebirth. The blood of ice and fire. Jon Snow is the son of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen. His real name, Aegon Targaryen v. This fact, revealed by Samwell Tarly and Bran Stark in Season 7, shifted the very foundation of the series. Jon was never Ned Stark's bastard. He was the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. So why didn't he take it? That's what haunted so many fans. But Jon's arc was never about power. It was about purpose. Throughout the series, Jon consistently rejects leadership. He didn't want to be Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. He didn't want to be king in the North. He certainly didn't want to rule Westeros. Yet fate kept pushing him into those roles. Until he finally made the most selfless decision of all, murdering Daenerys, the woman he loved, to protect the realm. He sacrifices his legacy for peace. And in doing so, he fulfills the prophecy of Azor Ahai, the prince that was promised, who saves the world from darkness. He becomes a Targaryen not through fire and conquest, but through duty and sacrifice. In the end, Jon Snow becomes the embodiment of both bloodlines, Stark resilience and Targaryen fire. The true purpose beyond the Wall. What lies beyond the Wall? That's the question the show leaves us with. But for Jon Snow, the answer is not just geography. It's freedom. No crown, no banners, no prophecies, just wilderness. The final scene of the series subtly mirrors the beginning. Jon and a small group of free folk walk into the woods, not unlike how the Night's Watch first patrolled the haunted forest in Season 1. Only now, Jon leads not as a ranger, but as something more. The free folk accept Jon not as a Targaryen or Stark, but simply as one of them. And there's power in that. It's the first time Jon gets to choose his own identity. And maybe, just maybe, he's becoming something new. Let's dive into the theory. According to fans and analysts, Jon is on the verge of becoming a legendary Northern Guardian, perhaps even the next last hero, a mythological figure from Westerosi lore who led the charge against the First Long Night. Remember, history in Westeros often repeats itself in cycles. The last Long Night ended with the Night's Watch being formed, the Wall being built, and the realms of men being saved. Jon, having witnessed the rise and fall of power, might now be laying the foundation for a new North, a world where free folk and men coexist, where ancient magic is respected, and where future threats are kept at bay. And let's not forget, the wall didn't just keep people out. It kept things in. With magic still lingering in the land, wargs, giants, and children of the forest potentially still alive, Jon might become Westeros' last line of defense. Not a king, not a lord, but a protector. The dragons return. One of the most emotional and cryptic moments of the finale is Drogon's flight. After Daenerys dies, Drogon melts the Iron Throne in a fiery rage, picks up her body, and flies east, disappearing into the sky. Bran, now king, later says, Drogon was last spotted flying east. But where did he go? What does it mean? There's a prevailing fan theory that Drogon flew to Valyria, the ancestral homeland of the Targaryens. A place lost to doom, fire, and shadow. But perhaps, a place where magic still exists. Why is this relevant to Jon? Because of Targaryen blood. In the lore, only Targaryens or those with Valyrian blood can truly bond with dragons. And Jon is the last male Targaryen alive. There's speculation that if Drogon returns, or if other dragon eggs exist in Valyria, Jon might be called upon again. He may be the only one who can restore the dragon legacy. Not as a conqueror, but as a caretaker. Imagine it, Jon Snow, deep in the far north, sensing a disturbance. Drogon returns. A new threat rises in Essos. And the last Targaryen must decide whether to remain in exile, or become something more. This sets up the perfect sequel premise, and it's the emotional link the finale quietly teases, the idea that Jon's story isn't over, just paused. The future of Jon Snow. After the finale aired, millions asked the same question. What happens to Jon Snow next? Interestingly, in 2022, Kit Harington confirmed he was developing a spin-off show centered around Jon Snow. Titled simply Snow, the project aimed to explore Jon's life beyond the wall. Kit even said, Jon is not okay. He's dealing with trauma, with exile, with the cost of what he did. There's more to explore. And George R.R. Martin confirmed that the project existed, and that Kit himself pitched the idea. But by 2024, development stalled. Creative disagreements, internal politics at HBO, and concerns over diverging canon caused the project to freeze. Still, the very idea of Snow shows one truth: Jon Snow's story is not done. There's narrative fuel left, his guilt over Daenerys, his true identity as Aegon Targaryen, the potential threat beyond the wall, the possibility of dragons returning, and perhaps most interesting of all, he might not be alone. Some speculate Arya Stark could reunite with Jon. Her journey west of Westeros is unexplored. She could return, changed, with knowledge Jon needs. Others believe Bran, with his powers as the three-eyed raven, still watches Jon's path, and may call on him again. In essence, Jon's fate is left open-ended, not to frustrate, but to leave hope. Hope that one day, the last Targaryen will return, not to claim the throne, but to forge a new world from the ashes of the old. George R.R. Martin's Endgame. Now, let's turn to the source. George R.R. Martin, creator of A Song of Ice and Fire, has long hinted that the books may not end the same way as the show. And Jon's fate, still a mystery. In the books, Jon is last seen stabbed by the Night's Watch, a cliffhanger the show resolved with his resurrection. But what comes next is unknown. Martin has said Jon is a key to the ending, and many believe he may ascend in a different way, perhaps even ruling. But even Martin admits he struggles with Jon. His identity crisis, his heritage, his morality, it's the most complex arc of all. Will Jon Snow become king? Will he vanish into myth? Or will he, like in the show, find peace beyond power? Whatever the answer, Martin's ending will offer more clarity, more internal monologue, and more consequence.